And when I think about Nusi and the things that he's given us over a 3-year program, he had a windy road with some injuries, overcame all of them, overcame each and every one of them. Nusi's a great leader, and all these guys were captains in our team this year. Nusi would always give me his opinion on everything. If we were running too much, he would tell me. If we were not running enough, he would tell me. Nusi's got another windy road to get to this point. He was patient, and it led to some very big things, some awesome opportunities here. I had a chance to go to all these schools, and at this point, I think Nusi's going to make his announcement of where he's going to college.
With the talk with my family and the love and support from my coaches and staff, I'm committed to the University of Virginia.
Late in the game, Menlo looking for the big play, and they found it. But unfortunately, it's not for them. Fanua's pass is intercepted by Eric Wilson, and Wilson will turn from defensive back to running back. Watch the future pro at work.
The Serra program is no doubt a power in Northern California, power in the CCS, power, in the state. And you have to credit Patrick Walsh for the job that he's done in the 2 decades since he's been there.
The first CCS title since 1990.
Sure, there's been a lot of huge names. I mean, you can't get any bigger than a Tom Brady, who was a Serra star in the 1990s. You go back to Lynn Swann, I mean, many decades ago. I mean, he was a gifted receiver at USC who did huge things for the Pittsburg Steelers in the 1970s. I mean, he was a major part of that dynasty. But not until Patrick Walsh arrived in the early 2000s was Serra a dominant force in the WCAL like it is now.
I'm more happy really for the community, Serra High School. I've been here for 13 years, and I'm just happy that this whole community is, as long as we've been around since 1944, and all these kids that gave their heart and soul to this school. And I love Serra High, man. I'm thrilled that there's a lot of happy Padres out there this evening.
What Walsh has done at Serra over the 2 decades, making them a consistent winner, consistent contender for major championships, has been, nothing short of sensational, which, you'd probably expect nothing less from him. I mean, you go back to his De La Salle days. I mean, he was a record-breaking running back at De La Salle, top-notch baseball player, clearly excelled in the classroom as the valedictorian of the school, and then, to go on and play football at San Jose State, play baseball at San Jose State. The guy, breathes emotion, believes in what he says. You watch his post-game speeches, you watch his, how he interacts on the sidelines. I mean, even if you're not playing for his team, you're like, man, where's the helmet? Where are the shoulder pads? Where's the jersey? Let's get out there.
There's some potential Sunday players out here. You never know. I mean, a lot of that is God's will and luck and fate.
Washington State, they followed me a while ago. I committed early because I wanted to get things just done with. The dream I want of going to the NFL and playing, I just want to make it out for my family, so I thought Wazoo was the best place to get exposure in the Pac-12.
Making predictions about, the 1% of the 1% of athletes is very, very difficult to do. There's so much luck involved when it comes to playing professional football, and there's a lot of God involved. We currently have 4. Brady, David, Matt Dickerson.
Matt Dickerson was playing on the Tennessee Titans in the AFC Championship game this year, like on TV. Who would have ever guessed that?
And now Aesop Winston, play receiver here, so that's exciting. And we hope Aesop jumps into the same category with Brady and Dickerson is one of the hardest workers to ever go through here. Oh my God, like we lost to De La Salle like 21-20 or something, and he didn't play.
We have some great players. That's actually inarguable. The senior class, based on today, having this many recruits, there's never been more.
The next 4 years, I'm going to be playing college football at the University of Idaho in Moscow, Idaho.
Nate, as a party, had one of those years where, he was a great athlete. He has great feet, great athleticism. He has that internal fire that led him to get a college scholarship.
When I got that offer, every single coach on their staff texted me.
Loyalty is a big thing to me. It's probably the most important trait in my life.
And the first day he could, their head coach was in my house recruiting me.
They were my first offer, and they had been showing me love from the start. And so when I went up there and they kept showing me love, I fell in love with the place. I fell in love with the coaching staff, and I took about a week, but then I just knew it was the place for me.
Obviously Dalen, reached his dreams and hung in there and is going to be a quarterback in the Pac-12 at Arizona State University. Would not be shocked if he jumps in there and wins games like he did for Serra.
I think it was just the best fit for me in general. Great program. They're definitely on the come up. Definitely the coaching staff and all the players there. They definitely want me there, which is one of the biggest things for me. A great chance to play behind Jaden Daniels, learn from him, and then get my shot later.
Terrence LaVille going to San Jose State, I think is great. Great for Mom. Great to keep him close to home. Great for us to be able to drive right down there and watch him play. I think he's going to be a great playmaker in college. On either side of the ball, I think they got him playing wide receiver, but I wouldn't be surprised again if he jumps over on the defensive side of the ball, be a returner for him. It's a great fit for him. I'm stoked to see him play close to home. It's always nice when kids stay close to home when they can.
Anything that you saw from me in high school, Spartan Nation, I'm bringing to San Jose for sure. Just be ready for it.
This is our first ACC player, at least since I've been here, which is going to be really cool to watch you in that Eastern time zone a lot.
There's many reasons why I went to Virginia.
He's going to go bang heads with Clemson and kind of the big dogs on the East Coast.
I was hyped about the program right when I got offered to go to a prestigious school to get a good education while playing at a top-ranked team.
I think the future is only ahead of him, just because physically I think he's still growing and maturing.
I would say I went to Virginia because of the coaches, mostly, and the players. Besides the education factor, I really connected with all the coaches there. Very religious people.
Coaches are always driven by great players, and those 5 guys that signed today, and there's others too that could be signing later in the spring. Nate Sanchez and a few of our other fantastic guys, Marcellus Eisen, they're going to be doing a spring ceremony. So what a talented group of kids, great leaders, fully bought in, full passion.
When you look at the talent across the Bay Area, I mean, sure, it's clear that Serra has a lot of talent.
I'm blessed right now. Just happy for all my brothers who signed, happy for everybody else who signed. I'm just happy right now. I'm just trying to take everything in, trying to thank everybody for just playing their part of my life. Life's a game. I just play my part. I'm just thankful for everybody over here.
We know in the short term they're going to be playing on Saturdays, and they're all going to be massive contributors to their colleges.
Go Cougs, baby. We on one soon.
Good luck to all you guys. Your journeys are just beginning. Once a Padre, always a Padre for each and every one of you. You guys are repping the school, repping everything, all of our values, and it doesn't stop here. It's going to continue on to all your wonderful colleges. Congratulations to everybody here.
As the season progresses, there's historical data that you can fall back on, right, as an organization. And at the completion of week 3, we had vaulted up in the rankings. We were basically told how good we were during our bye week. And hubris and ego is the exact opposite of humility, which is Father Joe's basically human existence. Is like the most humble human being on the planet.
You guys have the unfortunate opportunity to go home, go to bed, wake up early, and get back to work. We got a lot to learn. Father Joe, where you at, baby? Come on over here.
Okay, we always finish the way we started, right?
This is my 19th year doing a football chapel with Coach Walsh. Sarah's been a really big part of my ministry, really big part of my life.
I met him when I got here. He was actually on the interview committee that hired me here at Serra in 2001. So he was in the room. Tom Brady was in the room. Mike Peterson was in the room. Kevin Donahue was in the room, and I looked around, and obviously, oh shoot, I didn't know who the interview committee was, and I'm like, oh, there's Tom Brady. I better talk to him. He's going to be the guy that's going to grill me the hardest. It's going to be awful.
I guess my first impression of Patrick was passion, a deep passion for teaching and the game of football, but as it gave life lessons. That was my first impression, and to be honest with you, 19 years later, that's still my impression.
Father Joe and I connected and resonated for the first moment on that day, and we've been tight ever since.
I got love for one another. I don't care about that scoreboard. I never have.
I had the privilege of doing Patrick's wedding, and I had the privilege of doing Nicholas Eagle's wedding, and I baptized their kids, gotten to know the family.
Father Joe had a heart transplant, and the average lifespan of someone who receives a heart transplant is about 7 years. And Father Joe has almost doubled that lifespan.
Our physical angel, he's with his heart transplant, he's clearly got a gangster's heart in him where, a gang member sadly died, and heart is like a perfect match for Father Joe. Father Joe's on his deathbed, and all of a sudden this gangster's heart comes flying up from Los Angeles, where Father Joe still has a relationship with the family, and this man's kind of life in his death was sad, but kept living in the heart of our priest, in the heart of our chaplain, Father Joe Bradley.
That was for Father Joe, man. Bottom line, that was for Father Joe. All your efforts, everything you guys did. There was a guy at St. Greg's, laying in his bed thinking about you, and that's all I can think about. So you guys just gave Father Joe one of the greatest gifts for his heart. He really needed that. So I'm really, really happy for you guys, for the gift you guys gave Father Joe.
Thankfully, there is a divine spirit working through him, where the divine spirit has allowed Father Joe to be with us physically and have presence with us, because our football program wouldn't be the same without him.
I love you guys. Obviously, we're going to stay humble, and the way we stay the most humble is to have Father Joe take us away. Father Joe.
Patrick was one of the first people after my family I called when they said, we have a new heart, and we're going to bring you down at 4 in the morning, and we're going to do the surgery. And one of the first people I called was Patrick. And he was there for some really scary times. And so I love the man and love his family. They're terrific people. And a lot of character and faith and all of it. But it's real, there's no put on.
When we lost twice in 2012 on the 1 yard line to Bellarmine, it was Father Joe sitting next to me on the bus while I'm in tears saying, you're the best thing that's ever happened to this program and these kids. And I'm sitting there like, I can't get a yard, and just whatever things that don't really matter. Father Joe has always brought me back to the center and brought this program back to the center, which is to believe in one another with brotherhood, to really band together for one another, to love one another, and to deal with it with humility.
Remember what we said in chapel about humility? Our Father,
who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom
I think the brotherhood at Serra, in a lot of ways, it grows even more after graduation. So a lot of these kids that are growing into young men that I meet during chapel and during football, I see them years later for things like weddings and baptisms and even family funerals. So Sarah's been a real part of my ministry, my priesthood, and I'm very grateful. Deep, very, very, very grateful.
I wouldn't be who I am as a human, certainly as a football coach, without Father Joe's influence in my life.
God sent us Father Joe.
And I think a lot of us feel that way. And the fact that Father Joe kind of sensed the lack of humility during Riordan week, and felt hubris creeping in, kind of ego, like, we are pretty good, like, which is true. I mean, the history showed that we're pretty good. But then again, we don't hang 3-0 banners with the 2019 San Jose State banner. We don't do that. So I think Father Joe picked up on that, and then, there's some things that happened during the week that, Riordan came out ready to play. This is the WCAL. And the WCAL, at any time, you can lose to anybody, which is the best part about the league. And if hubris catches up with you, or you get too high or too low, you're gonna lose.
We faced some adversity in that first half. A lot of it was self-imposed adversity. It's hard enough to beat Riordan, Bellarmine, St. Francis, Mitty, Valley, all those teams, when you also have to beat Serra too. It's hard to win in life if every single day you're fighting yourself in the morning, you're staying up late making bad decisions. It's hard to win life when you're beating yourself every day. This is a great lesson for you guys right now. We beat ourselves a few days this week, didn't we? We beat ourselves. Okay, and that's always going to be a reflection of what happens in a game. So I hope each and every one of you learn a lesson right now. We have to win the third quarter. That's part of our culture here at Serra. We win the third.
The Riordan game is called the John Baxter Trophy game. John Baxter meant something to my family because he was a San Francisco firefighter. So he worked alongside my grandpa for a number of years before he went into his coaching career with Serra and Riordan. So my grandpa knew John Baxter personally.
Stick around after the game for the post-game presentation of the 2019 Baxter Trophy.
That game meant quite a bit for me just because my grandpa would talk about the type of man he was, and his wife was at the game, and my grandpa and grandma sat with John Baxter's wife. So it was a deeper meeting game for me just because my grandpa knew the man so well.
Riordan has had a history recently of not being the most competitive teams, and coming off us dominating 3 straight weeks in preseason, I think we were a little too cocky.
Sometimes losing is the best lesson. Well, that night kind of started that way. We started slow, we had some penalties, it was weird, it was foggy, we were at Jefferson High School.
They have a new offense. I think Riordan had a new coaching staff going to this game, so we didn't really know what to expect.
That was coach's first night in the WCAL, and they were like, look, we're a formidable program here. And they did a great job against us.
Coach Walsh would tell us some of the most dangerous teams are the ones that have nothing to lose.
We kind of got humbled at the start of the Riordan game. We started off slow. I don't think we scored at all in the first quarter.
Like their first 3 plays, they're in the red zone. The defense held, I believe.
Riordan had some big guys. They had some big guys, but they didn't have the technique or the coaching that we had. So we knew that we were going to win with our technique.
Riordan's, I remember the quotes in the papers saying, like, this is the birth of our program because we stood toe-to-toe with these guys. And they look at the papers too, like, wow, this is a great team. They went toe-to-toe with us. They hit us in the mouth. They did a great job that night.
Because that's our football.
And so that kind of just helped us realize that we can't underestimate anybody, and every single game we have to be acting like it's a state championship game.
So this is definitely a good team. Can't underestimate them. Coming out 3-0. It's a big deal to start like that. A lot of momentum, a lot of good stuff going for us. But that really doesn't mean anything once you get into WCAL play, because you can't underestimate any team. This team really came out tonight. So we competed, came out a little bit slow in the first quarter, but then
we woke up, we made adjustments, we do what we had to do.
We came out here, we did our thing, and
what's next? Prepare for our next game, do what we got to do. And
our defense, best defense in the league, Shout out my defense, shout out my defense, hey.
There you go, baby. Bring them coming. Keep them coming.
Came out, winning 49-0, which, if you look at the papers, again, another Serra rout. But there were some chinks in the armor, if you will, some challenges, some spiritual things that Father Joe brought up that he didn't like, that we had to deal with.
The Baxter boys will now present the trophy to the 2019 Serra Padres.
Going into the 2019 season, the reporters of the Bay Area News Group ranked the top 25 teams in the greater Bay Area, which for this season included the North Bay and the southern end of the Central Coast section, so Monterey area, Salinas area. The Serra Padres were ranked number 4 coming into the season behind Valley Christian, Liberty, and De La Salle. So we anticipated Serra to have a really, really strong season.
I remember when that list first came out. Coach Bell came out to the 50-yard line over the summer and said that the articles have us ranked 4th. And we took that and we struck us back a little bit and said, 4th? Like, we have some of the best talent, arguably, that I think in the whole league. So I felt a little disrespected. So that's why we kind of took it as a chip on our shoulder and wanted to go prove everyone wrong. That's why we call it the revenge tour, because we lost a lot our junior year, and it was up to us as seniors to right the wrongs that our seniors did before us.
He's got one of the best hands in the WCAL and also a standout quarterback and kick returner for the Padres. Please welcome senior Terrence LaVille. Thank you so much for coming, Terrence.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so you had a great performance last Friday at your game, but we'll get to that later. Sarah's having an amazing season, but a lot of people predicted you guys to, be kind of in the middle this year. How does it feel that you're proving them wrong?
Well, during summer, all our coaches would always just talk about like, oh, you guys are predicted to lose the MIDI and all that. You guys are predicted to go 1-2 in preseason. So we just use that as motivation for the preseason and just for the rest of the season.
In the early part of the 2000s and the early part of the 2010s, the Serra Bellarmine rivalry was a must-see. I mean, you had to see that game. Over the course of the last few seasons, clearly the talent discrepancy widened. Mike Janda, who stepped down after 36 seasons, was the all-time winningest CCS coach. I don't believe he forgot how to coach, nor do I believe his staff forgot how to coach. It was a talent discrepancy that dropped Bellarmine to the middle, if not lower, end of the WCAL, while Serra continued its ascent along with teams like Valley Christian and St. Francis.
When I think of Bellarmine, I think of nice kids. I remember playing them, and they would just compliment me after I hit them. They would help us up off the ground. They didn't have a lot of talent. They didn't have a lot of size. So unfortunately, when you don't have those two things, it makes you hard to win football games against teams like we did, which we had size and talent.
Bellarmine hasn't been as competitive as they used to be, but if you go back and ask old Serra alumni, what was your toughest games, who was your toughest rival, what game did you want to win most, Bellarmine will be almost everyone's answer. So every year you get excited and hyped for the Bellarmine game because you get to have the prune rally, the seniors walk through the hallways, banging the drums, coming out to the song, everybody gets hyped. You smash the prunes in the middle center court in front of the whole school. And so for us, it's kind of just like honoring like our fellow alumni who that game meant so much to. And it was kind of our chance to like show them appreciation.
Be low.
Let's go, come on, let's go, Quill. Let's go, Padre jumping jacks, on me, ready, begin.
We need to play 48 minutes. But the start of the game doesn't dictate how we play over 48 minutes. And a lot of that was discussed yesterday in chapel. Those 48 minutes can unwind in many different fashions. We could be going for 2 to win the game at the end of the game. It could be an overtime. The clock could be running. There's all sorts of ways things can happen. But what I'm asking you guys is to play 48 minutes tonight. And as we talked about yesterday, you're not doing that for yourself, you're doing that for your brothers. You're doing that for your teammates. Because this life is not about you. It's about us. It's about the we. It's about each and every one of you in here have your own heartbeat, your own story, your own lives that are important to everybody. The actions of a few can affect the masses in both directions. I want 100% energy tonight from everybody. 100% laser focus from everybody. Because after tonight, your season's half over. When you start thinking about things like that, you start wanting to hold on to those moments. You want to hold on to time. Time is slipping away. And when you think back on that time, you're going to ask yourself, what'd you do with that time? How'd you deal with it? The ups and the downs, the bad calls. We're in San Jose. We're going to have bad calls. I'll tell you right now. It's going to be awful calls all night long. It's going to be 10-0. Bellarmine is going to have 0. We're going to have 10 penalties. So what? We move on. That's the way it goes. And that's how I want you guys thinking about tonight. Bring it up on me, please. Let's go. Bring it up. Let's go. Be an unselfish person.
I love you guys. Father Joe, where you at, man?
Right here. Take a moment in God's presence. Bring chapel with you tonight. Our Father,
who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen.
Señor, proceda.
Pray for us.
Let's go. Going into that game, we game planned well against them. We knew what they were going to run. Bellarmine has run the same offense they've ran the last 50 years. So it was just all about who wants it more. And we came into that game and scratched, clawed, and we wanted more.
And you had 2 touchdowns this past Friday against the Bellarmine. So what was that game like for you? How exciting was it?
Oh, it was really good. Just coming in, we knew not to take Bellarmine lightly, another WCAL opponent, so just had to come in strong, finish strong, finish strong.
And do you want to talk about those touchdowns a little bit?
The first one, it was actually a flea flicker. At first, I ran like a kind of an out pattern, and I saw him pass it back to Dalen. So I ran back up the field. And then Dalen saw me running down, so I just told him, hey, you just got to throw it up. And me and Dalen have that kind of trust together. So when I saw the ball in there, I just knew it's just me and the ball. So I caught it and then ran to the end zone.
Yeah, we built that chemistry probably freshman year. I've seen him make all those catches when we were working out in practice. So when it came to the game, I just knew that I had trusted him that he'd make those catches and make those big plays.
I knew coming up senior year, just for both of us, it was going to be the biggest year and best year for everyone.
So tell me, how did you get into playing sports?
I started playing baseball at first when I was about 6 years old, and then football didn't really come around until freshman year of high school because my mom always wanted to stay away from it, but when I finally hit high school, she couldn't really stop me anymore.
I remember my son playing Little League baseball, and Terrence Seville was the big hot shot, playing baseball in San Mateo Little League over here, and just thinking, wow, what a great athlete, what a great kid, and he ends up going to Serra High School, which I'm like, wow, this is great. He's a quiet kid, he's quiet, but inside of Terrence is like a raging fire. And I would say the first 3 games of the year, including St. Mary's, where the second drive of the game, or first drive of the game for us, he dips a guy and just goes to the house. That was his statement that, this is our year. This is our senior team's year. I'm a part of this. I'm going to be a leader of this team.
And the season is halfway over. And how content are you, with your team's progress and how far you guys are going to go with the rest of this season?
I'm really just blessed to have made it this far, 5-0 and everything, but just keep looking forward.
My name is Damon Lewis, DB, kicker, punter. I played at Serra football. I came to Serra because of a long line of history here. My dad came here, my grandpa as well. And my brother came 2 years above me, and he loved it here, so I was destined from the start to come here.
Coming in, actually, the day I shadowed 8th grade year, I shadowed the same day as Nusi. And me and Nusi were in Coach Walsh's office. We were talking, we were chopping it up. Coach Walsh introduced us. Him and I looked at each other like, man, we can actually do something if we come to this school.
I came to Serra for basketball, but football was my way out in a way. Mostly did basketball to keep up with conditioning.
It's kind of tough though, the transition from basketball to football. You get gas from basketball pretty easily because there's a whole different in shape for that.
From the youngest of 6. I grew up playing football since 3rd grade. My eldest brother, Tavita Latemua, he went to Mills High School, and then from there he went to CSM, got a couple offers, and he chose Hawaii. The game's just been in me ever since I came up.
Serra, pass the torch, he's the MVP!
My brother Kalepi came through here at Serra, did his 4 years here, and now he's at Cal Poly playing running back.
Hey, that was for Cobb, bro. I love you, bro. Hey,
man, that's a lot, but they really preach that brotherhood, and they just make it a reality. It becomes a part of you.
The best attribute that the 2019 Padres had was of how close we were. On some teams, on some high school football teams, you'll see a group of 4 or 5 guys that are close and the rest kind of fade away. We had about 20 to 30 guys.
I gotta tell you, it's a beautiful thing to watch. When you see young men that can say they love each other and say that without any apprehension and say that in church and be accepted, oh man, that's a special thing.
Give me mom, Noose! Mom on me, mom on 3, 1, 2, 3. Mom!
We're tight. We know each other. We joke around in the locker room. We're best buddies. We hang out over the summer.
You can't really describe it, but during your 4 years here, if you play football here, you just feel it mentally, spiritually as well. You start to see yourself grow as a man, and
I think that was the best thing about the 2019 Padres, was just how close we were. And Father Joe was able to recognize that and use that as our strength.
That's a special thing, and we had that this year.
Get this one! Jumping jacks! On me! Ready, begin!
Homecoming, it's one of the best things in Serra. That behind the jungle game, I'd say, would be like the 2 main events at Serra.
One night game out of the year at our home field. It's an honor to be a part of that.
At Serra, we don't have a homecoming dance, so our homecoming is the football game.
The community and stuff at Serra is insane.
The atmosphere is crazy. Like, we have like basically everyone from San Mateo, like Serra Padre alumni, all go there.
That just brings a certain level of energy.
It's just to play under the lights there. It's a great feeling.
It's pretty cool coming here. You know, there's a great tradition and you know, history here. Everybody takes the sports so seriously and stuff, and they just expect you to be at your best all the time and expect you to give your all kind of thing. So the tradition and history stuff is pretty cool. It makes Serra special.
Damon Lewis is like the quintessential Padre heart guy.
Listen, stay disciplined, okay? Let Damon go first. Let Damon go first, and I want to see 11 guys do the football. You understand me?
Doesn't look like Nusi and doesn't have the size, the talent, natural talent. Let's say like some of these guys, God-given talent is given some of us, but his heart is second to none. When it comes to his love of team, his love of sport, his love of the Padres, his love of his family.
I was fortunate enough to play 4 years of varsity football at Serra. It was definitely kicking. Freshman year, I had the opportunity to kick for us on the team, and I was fortunate enough to get the call to go to varsity to try it out and stuff because I had a pretty good leg. And since then, I started freshman just as kicker, and then moved on sophomore year to play more defense and learn the DB position and stuff. And from there, I just took off kind of my whole career at Serra for varsity.
Being a sophomore, what have you learned from all the seniors that are on this team, especially with an 0-2 start and then just rolling through everybody after that?
Yeah, I honestly learned that always keep it up, you know, never quit. They're fighters, man. They every play. We do so much conditioning and stuff over the summer, it pays off at the end.
Damon has done some crazy things with his feet. He's kicked 50-yard field goals, 55-yard field goals. Damon had the potential to be a Division I kicker if he really put his mind to it. But he's one legit dude when he's kicking the football.
We don't call him Golden Boy for a reason. Ever since freshman year, Damon, I would always look to the left and see Damon just not tired at all. Him and Nate, yeah, they were always special. I would see Damon just in the front of the line running around, And they told me he was playing quarterback. I was like, dude, this dude reminds me of like Peyton Manning or somebody, just the way he leads. And then freshman year out here, he gets moved up for kicking. He stayed the same, just quiet, laid low.
A lot of games, I'll be playing defense, and I also played special teams. So I'd do kickoff return and kickoff. And I would get in the huddle with Damon, and I'd just be like, Damon, please kick it in the end zone. And he would tap me on the helmet, and he says, Will, I got you. And he would put that thing, no doubt, in the back of the end zone. I'm running about 10 yards. As soon as he kicked it, back of the end zone, I'm yelling, Damon, I love you, buddy.
Nobody really talked about it, but we really noticed, like, we may have not said anything out loud, but everybody noticed he was so special to the team because he was out here playing corner, safety, with his punts, his kicks saving us, like ending up at the 1 or kicks going all the way to the other field goal, going through it. It would just save so much energy for the defense.
Just Damon, since he's been on varsity since a freshman, he just has the most experience out of anyone on the team. So with Damon, even when he gets picked on, gets a ball caught on him, he's always going to bounce back because he knows what to do in those scenarios because he just has so much experience.
When he'd give up a big play, he would always look down, but we'd be right there to remind him, like, hey, like, just move on to the next play. You gotta have short-term memory. And he did just that and came back the next play, executed a pick or a tackle. Like, he would come in and spark that fire for the defense and get it started for us.
It's just like short-term memory and stuff. Like our coach preached on that, where I was like, you know, you could have one play go wrong, but it doesn't matter. That play's in the past. You just gotta go in the present kind of thing and like make up for that. So whenever like I'd miss a kick or I'd blow coverage or something like that, like I was always like, you know, it's my mistake. I just gotta make up for it. Go 110% next play.
Mitty was a big week for us because we smoked them our junior year. I mean, I think it was like 40 to like 6 or something. And so we knew we were better than Mitty. But then coming into preseason before our senior year, somebody made WCAL rankings and they predicted us 4th and they predicted Mitty 3rd. And so we had that chip on our shoulder the entire year. It was like our revenge tour, like for everybody that hated on us. And so when we got to Mitty, we wanted to like show them like that they shouldn't even be in the same conversation as us. And we were cocky.
Hit him harder, let's go.
Make a statement.
One on me, line on 3, 1, 2, 3.
We play one night game a year, and it's always a special and unique feeling, but it's kind of like the jungle game in basketball where it's a different experience. And teams on both sides of the field deal with it differently. Well, that night, Mitty came to play, and they came to play and prove that they're not going to back down to anybody, all 26 of them.
Ben Ross here for the Week 8 GetSportsFocus Game of the Week.
Let's light someone up. Let's go.
We got the Mitty Monarchs and the Serra Padres. Should be a terrific matchup. Mitty coming in at 4-1 on the season. Serra a perfect 5-0. And a beautiful setting at the Brady Family Stadium. Only night game at Serra every year is homecoming.
They had 26 guys in their team. Not a big team. Didn't have a whole lot of talent. They did their homework. They found weak spots.
We can sit there and go, you know, we're 5-0. You know, we had a running clock last week against Bellarmine in the 3rd quarter. Like, you know, again, history can sometimes catch up to teams and hubris can creep in. And we're under the lights and Mitty's gonna back down. It's gonna be a rout. No, it's not. It's definitely not what happened.
They came out with trick plays and they came out early and they punched us in the face.
1st and 10 for Mitty. Little trickeration here. Bay going up top, has a receiver, caught, Ian Collier, into the end zone, touchdown Monarchs, 49 yards, and Mitty strikes first, it's 6-0.
They were executing on the opportunities they had, and we weren't focused.
Hand off to Latai Moa, pushing his way into the end zone, touchdown Serra. Line drive punt, fielded by LaVille at about the 40-yard line, trying to find some room. Slips one tackle, dancing around, still on his feet. And now the ball is loose, and it's going the other way. Zach Tabancura into the end zone. What a play! Touchdown, Mitty. Fielded by LaVille at his own goal line. Following his blockers to the right side, he has a seam. LaVille off to the races. Across midfield, 30, 20, 10, 5. Touchdown, Serra. A flag down on the play.
A couple of funky plays here and there, great calls by Coach Taufo, double passes, and Terrence trying to fight off 27 guys, showing heart and effort leads to a touchdown the other way. Next it's 14-7.
Something did not feel right in our minds. We knew we weren't playing our style of ball. It shouldn't be this score.
It's a tough league to play in. Nobody panic. There's a ton of time left on this clock. Hey, you're good, team.
That kind of put us back and realized that we're not as good as we thought we were, and we need to work harder no matter what.
Out of the shotgun, McLemore in trouble, hit and dropped for the sack. Davis Salon coming through to take him down.
Oh, won't do what we do. Oh, we don't do what we do. That's all we do. We pick them up.
Pitch goes to the right side. Nothing doing. There's big Nusi Milani with the tackle for a loss.
Where you go? He moved!
Bay out of the shotgun. Looking right, throws right, has a man caught. Raymelo Murphy breaks a tackle. He's off to the races. 10, 5, touchdown Mitty. What a catch and run by Raymelo Murphy.
We had a little discussion together, the captains, and we just knew we have to pick this team up, turn everything up, defense up, offense up, special teams, just everything in our game had to be incorporated.
Taken by Sanchez. He tries to follow his blockers, a seam out to midfield. Breaks a tackle, still on his feet. And he's finally taken down. Nice return by Sanchez. McLemore, looking right, going deep. Has a man, it's bobbled and caught. What a catch for the touchdown, Terrence LaVille. He bobbled it a couple of times, but kept it off the ground. And it's a touchdown. Sanchez on the carry. He's in for the touchdown. A 7-yard score for Sanchez. And Serra's within an extra point of tying the game.
We knew they were a good team. They had a good quarterback. They had some fast athletes on that team. We knew that we were going to have our hands full with them. And, with the lights and stuff, it was like we were super anxious for it, and then they came out swinging. So it kind of... kind of shocked us back a little bit, but...
We talked as a defense, we fixed our errors, we were more alert, more awake.
We realized that, we just got to buckle down and keep fighting.
They came out swinging, they gave us our shot. We faced adversity that game, It was a close game the whole time. It was a battle to the end.
Hey, everyone in the weight room. Let's go. Hey, in the wrestling side.
And then it's at halftime we come in here and we're like, okay, so we want to wake up from the dream. Dream's over.
Let's go!
You need to pick it up. Because right now it looks like Mitty won the damn Super Bowl as they're hooting and hollering into the damn locker room.
Those guys are playing hard. All 2A guys. Are you 2A? Are you 2A? Are you 2A? None of you guys are 2A. Get off the ball and get to the second level.
Last time I checked, it's 24 minutes to play.
The only way they're going to get back in this game or win this game is if they try to throw the ball, so be ready.
I want you guys to literally go put full throttle on them.
They will do 3 more trick plays. They did 1 for 1 for a touchdown. Be disciplined, please. Be disciplined. Those chunk plays, the turnover on the punt return, all that sort of stuff keeps these games close. Just do your job. Don't try to be a superstar tonight. This is when you hang on your brothers and you hang on your job. You do your job. You do your job and you do it as hard as you can. This is not a hard game. This is an easy game. If you do your job, beat the guy in front of you. Work with the guy next to you. That's it. Run your asses up and you get the football. If you get the ball, the first guy should never bring you down. Don't let him bring you down. Defense, swarm to the ball. We're not swarming the ball. I know we can. We got to be better swarming to the ball. We're not overwhelming these guys with our effort. We're not doing it right now. We built our entire program on winning the third. Get us up in the game. 48 minutes. That's what we prepare for. I'm glad this is happening. I'm humbled by Mitty's effort, to be honest with you. I'm humbled by their effort. Well, now we need to give them Padre football. Now we need to give it back to them. You understand me?
0-0.
Come on, let's go. 3-1-3. 1, 2, 3. Let's go.
Montoya heading outside right, has some room. Outside the 40, makes a nice cutback. He's across midfield, still on his feet. And down inside the 25. What a run by Latimua. McLemore hands off to Sanchez, untouched into the end zone. Touchdown, Serra, and they've got their first lead of the night. Bay back to pass, runs out of time, hit and dropped by Jerry Gateote with the sack.
We knew they were going to come out and fight. They had, like 20-something players only that day. Man, they were fighting. A lot of their players were playing two ways. So eventually we knew they were going to get tired out.
So I remember in the third quarter, it was a close game. We were up 7 at that point, and fourth quarter came around and we lined up for a kick.
He's going to make this kick. We're going to cover on kickoff. We won the third. Now we got to finish the game off. 12 more minutes. You guys got me? Let's get together. 1, 2, 3.
And I got a perfect snap, perfect hold. I kicked it hard. I missed it left, I think. It just drifted on me, and so. You know, I was kind of rattled by that. I was like, man, like that was a big play in the game, and I just messed it up. So I'm like, man, that kind of stinks. But I knew I had to make it up on defense.
First and 15 for Mitty. Bay with the play-action fake. Going deep. Has a man, and it's caught in stride by Murphy. Now the ball comes out. They're calling it a fumble. Still loose. And it's recovered by Serra. Lewis with the recovery after forcing the fumble. A huge play by the Serra defense. Second and 14 for the Padres. Handoff to Hassan Mahasin, and he's into the end zone. Touchdown, Serra. Bay looking right, throwing for Collier, tipped and caught for the touchdown. And it's a one-score game. Here's the two-point conversion. Toss to the right, it's gonna be a halfback pass. And a catch in the back of the end zone. Connor Gamblin cuts the lead to 35-29. Mitty not done yet. Here we go, the onside kick attempt. A low one, and it's gonna roll out of bounds. And that should do it. Serra gonna hang on to win this one, 35-29. Probably our best GSF game of the week so far this year. What a contest.
I got the Serra Padres with a big win over the Mitty Monarchs. Baby, make some noise, baby. Absolutely, GSF, you know why I'm here. Get straight to some post-game interviews. All right, who's first? Where is number 4? Get Nate up here. Nate, where's Nate Sanchez? Oh, right here, absolutely. Yo, man, going both ways, lots of running for you. Can you tell the kids what it's like to prepare to play both ways at the varsity level?
Man, it was a summer. All summer we ran, and I pushed myself harder than I ever have, and that's what it came down to. We ran track tests, we were getting gassers, man, I pushed myself. That's all it comes down to push yourself.
Well, with that, you get an award tonight, too, my brother. You are the playmaker of the game, too, my God. Absolutely. I got a shirt for you. Hold that up for him. And also, a free ice gift card to get yourself a sandwich, my guy. Oh. Congratulations. Hey, we all in.
The play that shifted the Mitty game was Damon's forced fumble.
Those hustle plays get memorialized here at Serra forever.
I knew I was burnt on that. I just literally put my head down and ran. I think I just got him by surprise. I was hustling on that. I somehow wrapped him around the arm and the ball popped loose.
That's a hustle play that Damon Lewis, you know, we'll remember his 10 PATs against Tulare Union. That was great. But that play that night, like, turned into the scope of the entire game.
It was one of those things where, you know, I knew I messed up. I knew it was my bad on the kick and stuff, but I just had to do something to put my team in a chance to win for that game.
And it's recovered by Serra. Lewis with the
Congratulations to you. With that, you get an award. You are the playmaker of the game, my guy.
I texted him not too long ago about where he was going to go for college, and I was asking if he was talking to any coaches for like kicking or anything, and he was just like, nah, not really. And I told him, I was like, dude, don't let that go to waste. Like, personally, like, this is just my opinion. I think you're really special. You could go really far with that foot or anything else you want to. But I told him, I said, dude, don't let it go to waste. Like, you're athletic as heck. You got that foot for a reason. Like, we don't call you golden boy for no reason.
The MIDI game was our night game, and that was the only night game at home we'll ever get again. In that second half, and we went back out in the field, did our 111th.
We're playing all on the same level, same speed. Communication was better, and that was really it.
We don't want to leave our fans like this. We don't want to leave our season like this, you know, because that would have been a game changer if we let him score again and came down on the losing end of that game.
And we came back and we ended up winning that game, and one that was much closer than we thought it would be, but we got the job done on our homecoming night.
All right, we still got one more. We got one more. Who is next? Where is my guy? Dalen, number 2, get Dalen up here. Where is he at? Oh my goodness. Number 2, man. Okay, QB of the night. Lots of plays for you. Did you see anything specific out there tonight that gave you guys the edge today against their defense?
Oh, they really took away our pass game. They added 7 into coverage and kept 4 in the box. They kind of messed with our game plan a little bit, but we respected it.
Absolutely, man. There was a lot of plays out there going back and forth. I mean, I feel like you guys faced a lot of adversity. Like I said, the officiating was a little weird to me tonight. How do you guys think you kept your head in the game to come out with the W?
I think we just kept pushing and kept relying on each other. Just kept playing hard and kept pushing.
Absolutely, man. Well, congratulations tonight. Y'all came out on top. I got an award for you, too, my guy. You are the MVP of the game, my G.
Learning lessons and wins is better than learning lessons and losses, assuming that the coaching staff and the kids can handle the fact that there were some losses within that win, much like Riordan. There were some losses within that 49-0 win or whatever, right? So that was what that night kind of brought about. Like, we're not invincible. We're in the WCAL. Anything can happen. And they did a fantastic job of bouncing back that night.
Who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen.
Let's go, get ready. Hey, be on time tomorrow, be on time. Hey, be on time tomorrow. Hey, boys, let's go. Hey, clean up the weight room. I love all this. Hey, take a step back. It's in the past. Let's go. Hey, clean up. 3, 1, 2.